Vitamin B12, also known as cobalamin, is an essential nutrient that plays a crucial role in human metabolism. Unlike most other vitamins, B12 is not produced by plants or animals, but rather by certain types of soil bacteria. The production and absorption of B12 involves a fascinating series of steps that ultimately allows this vital nutrient to reach the cells that need it. In today's video, we'll explore how B12 is made, how it's absorbed, and what happens when there's too much of it. Let's start at the beginning. How does B12 production occur? The synthesis of B12 is primarily carried out by certain species of soil bacteria, such as Pseudomonas and other prokaryotes. These bacteria possess a unique enzymatic pathway that allows them to assemble the corrin ring, the central structure of B12. Interestingly, plants can absorb small amounts of B12 through their roots, if the soil where they regrowing is rich in the vitamin. However, the majority of B12 is accumulated in animals that consume these plants. Once B12 enters an animal's digestive system, a number of complex processes take place to ensure that the vitamin is protected and transported efficiently through the gut. Our next step in this journey is the role of R proteins. As soon as B12 enters the mouth, R proteins, also known as haptocorins, are secreted by the salivary glands. These proteins bind tightly to free B12, forming a complex that protects the vitamin from acidic degradation in the stomach. This is an important step because the acidic environment of the stomach can easily destroy B12 if it is not properly protected. Speaking of the stomach, let's see what goes down there. The parietal cells located in the gastric glands of the stomach secrete a glycoprotein called intrinsic factor. This protein plays a crucial role in the absorption of B12 in the small intestine. In the stomach, the acidic environment begins to denature the food proteins, releasing B12. However, it's important to note that B12 remains bound to the protective R protein at this stage. As the partially digested food, also known as chyme, enters the duodenum, or the first section of the small intestine, several important events take place. First, pancreatic proteases, which are enzymes secreted by the pancreas, come into play. These enzymes digest the R protein. And speaking of the small intestine, let's focus on the ileum, which is the final portion of this important organ. The ileum contains specialized cubum receptors on anerocytes, or intestinal cells, which specifically recognize and bind to the B12IF complex. This interaction triggers receptor-mediated endocytosis, a process by which the B12IF complex is taken into the anerocyte. Once inside the anerocyte, B12 is released from the IF and bound to transcobalamin 2, another transport protein that carries it into the bloodstream. At this point, you might wonder what happens to all the B12 that's not absorbed by the ileum. It's worth noting that the ileum is highly efficient at absorbing B12, and any excess that's not needed by the body is typically eliminated through the feces. Now that B12 is in the bloodstream, where does it go next? The blood carries B12 to various tissues, with the liver being one of its primary destinations. The liver serves as a storage site for B12, where it can be stored for long periods, often years. This is important because it allows the body to draw upon B12 reserves when it's needed, such as during periods of increased demand or when dietary intake is low. Interestingly, some of the B12 in the liver is secreted into the bile, a substance that aids in the digestion and absorption of fats. Bile is released into the small intestine, where a portion of the B12 is reabsorbed by the ileum through a process called enterohepatic circulation. This mechanism ensures that the body efficiently recycles B12, reducing the need for new B12 to come from dietary sources. In summary, the production and absorption of vitamin B12 is a remarkable process that involves the coordinated efforts of various organisms and bodily systems. From the soil bacteria that produce B12 to the specialized receptors in our intestines that absorb it, each step in this journey is crucial for ensuring that this essential nutrient reaches our cells. The intricate mechanisms involved in B12 absorption, including its binding to R proteins and the gastric glands, secretion of intrinsic factor, highlight the complexity and efficiency of our digestive system. By understanding these processes, we can better appreciate the importance of maintaining a healthy gut microbiome and the role it plays in our overall well-being. If you found this video helpful, Please consider liking it and sharing it with others who might be interested in learning more about vitamin B12 and its importance for human health. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the fascinating world of biology.